What are your thoughts on the $69.99 games for PS5 and Series X after 2K announced the increase? Will other companies follow in their footsteps?
I think it's absolutely hilarious that it's 2K who's announcing it first, by the way.
Yeah.
Our game has significant value. That game being NBA 2K21 looks nothing like NBA 2K20.
It's more sweat. It's better sweat.
$70.
It's I think on paper, I'm okay with this on paper. Like the idea of like we all realize we talk to game developers in private. This stuff is getting more expensive. It takes longer to make. The QA teams are bigger. Like it understands that the price is going up. But the thing is, they're still going to be full of microtransactions. They're still going to be like pushing season passes. Like I feel like I don't know. I still feel like a lot of the underlying crappy parts of gaming are going to exist. Like I don't think we're going to erase anything. We're just paying more and getting the same amount.
So
I have some issues with. Oh, go
here's
ahead.
A question. Sorry, OJ.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So we keep hearing that the Unreal Engine 5 and this new tech is going to make development more streamlined. Yeah. But games the price of games is increasing by $10. So, what do we get out of this information? Like, if games are truly faster to develop with new tech, then why is the price of games going up? And that tells me that they're just focusing more and more resources on bigger and bigger games, right? They're not really doing anything. Like they're not taking the same length of game that you would this generation. They're already thinking about the next generation and maybe increasing the size of the game by 10, 15, 20%, in turn adding an additional cost to that game title. So it doesn't seem like they've learned anything here. Like, we keep hearing about crunch and games take a long time to develop, but then you hear that Unreal Engine 5, is streamlining the process. Well, why wouldn't they just keep the price the way it is and use the new tools that they have to reduce the development time versus just making the games bigger? And that's the part that I really have an issue with, I guess.
So Sean Layden of PlayStation already basically gave an official reply to that because people did bring that up. And his official reply from PlayStation was that games should have been $70 5 years ago. That was basically his thing of like, we're kind of just catching up to the current cost. Like games should actually be like $80.
No, but here's the issue that I have, like what MVG was saying. They've been talking about it's easier to develop for. They've been talking about PS5 is the easiest to develop for now that they have SSDs. There's all these things, and now they're saying, oh well, we need to raise the price $10. But the medium's the same, and they're pushing digital, and they have microtransactions. So it's not like in the past where you went like N64 cartridges where there was a reason why. You know what I'm saying? Like there was an actual physical hardware change. You're using the same PS5 and PS4. They're using the same thing, and they're slapping it. They're having the SSD in there. They're making it stronger, but it's not a major overhaul in architecture. Yet they're sitting here and saying all this. Oh, it's easier. Oh, but by the way, $10 more. MVG's bang on. They want to spend more money on making the game bigger, or they want to spend more money on the marketing of the game.
I was going to say the marketing.
For you to buy the PS5 version and the better graphics. It does not have to do with games getting more expensive to develop. They want to spend more money on the marketing, probably on something else, because I don't believe that, because developers are giving you next gen versions for free. Avengers is free on PS5 if you want the next gen version.
And I can tell you that
Cyberpunk, free.
Yeah, so. I can tell you there is not like, two sets of code. There isn't like the current gen code and the next gen code. It's one code base, right? Like if you log into a development environment, you're pulling down code that basically targets both. So there's really no difference there. So that's the part that I don't necessarily dislike the $10 increase, but I do question why it's now they're deciding to do it versus why didn't they just do it years ago?
Yeah, we also have to account for inflation too. So
yeah, there's inflation, but then like we get the special editions, we get the microtransactions added in, but if you get a game like God of War, for example, no microtransactions, nothing, but obviously that game is super high quality. It was probably in development for, I think it was like 5 or 6 years. It was a while, right? It was in development for a while. I look at that and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I probably would have been okay spending $70 on this. But then you get into NBA 2K21 and an hour in, there's a slot machine in front of you. You're like, well, hold on.
No, damn yearly rehash. Look, NBA, it doesn't even, anybody play actual basketball here? I know I play basketball for years. It doesn't even play like basketball. It's just Plus, it's some robotic piece of crap. Like they're sitting there and they're rehashing this. I'm sorry, man. I had to kind of go off. The NBA 2K is one of the worst actual representations of sports between FIFA, Madden, and NBA 2K. NBA 2K does not play anything. Doesn't play anything like basketball. I'm sorry, and I played basketball for freaking 20 years, man.
FIFA was good, but you know what was really good and pretty close in terms of was winning 11 soccer when that was really going on. That was back on the original Xbox. I would play that. That was a lot closer to actual soccer compared to FIFA, but FIFA had the name and the rights and the marketing, so it won out.
Bad at 2K, so
I think, you know what I will say, if the game is high quality and it feels like there's value there, I don't mind the price increase. But it's when you get a game for 70 that you take a chance on, and it's just like this 6-hour, 7-hour cheap cash and feeling game. And you're like, oh man, that was bad.
I mean, with this increase though, I think a lot of people will be more conscious and wait a little bit longer before they decide to go out and buy things online.
That's the other thing. You're right. This could actually hurt some of the initial sales for some games, just because people would be like, "Oh."
I think it'll kick certain developers in the butt, because if something comes out and people are like, "This is not worth $70," they're going to get hurt by it. So they're going to have. It's kind of quality control.
I've already had some of my subscribers talking to me and saying, like, I think I have a very frugal fan base, because I try and talk about the value a lot in videos, and I've seen people already saying I have a huge back catalog of PlayStation 4 games. I'm still loving them. There's a bunch of stuff I haven't played yet. I'll wait a year to buy a PlayStation 5. Like, now that I know the console's probably going to be expensive, and every game, no matter what, every game is going to be more expensive. I've seen a lot of people just being like, I'll wait. Like, I'll buy everything on sale in 2022.
I almost feel like it'll once again, it'll be harder to make a new IP then at that point, if even the games are getting more expensive. It was gonna it was gonna happen eventually, though. It's been a long time since the price of games went up. I mean, it was 2005, 2006, so it's been a long time. The base price that they put a sticker on, and drop it, but they've come up with all kinds of ways to get more money from you after that 60 anyway. So games now are actually making a lot more money anyway. So EA's propped up by their microtransactions in FIFA completely at this point. So
I'll say something controversial. I think if they started making certain games even more expensive than that, if there was randomly games that were just $80 flat price, like Persona 5, if they came out with like Persona 6 ends up being $80, like I think that 100-hour games, like I put over, this is playing some Final Fantasy gameplay here in the background, I put like 110 hours into this game. If they charged me upfront $80, I would have paid it.
That would be a death sentence for a Persona game, just to let you know.
Oh yeah,
that would be an absolute death sentence. Nobody would buy the game at that, because people already wait to buy those type of games anyway, even though they have a ton of content. I see where you're coming from, but man, that would be. I mean,
very
tough.
They got 120 from people. They sold Persona 5, then they sold the Royal. Yeah, you're right. They got 120.
The Royale paycheck.
Yeah, I know you're talking about that, OJ, because it's a JRPG that's already going to have a hard time out of the gate as it is.
I mean, and like Persona Royale is already 30. I mean, it's $40. You can get it for 49. It's already dropped in price.
You know what's interesting though? If you go to Japan and you look at the cost of games there, it's already like $80 in some cases for these games.
Yeah,
I think Persona 5 was already like $75 or $80 or something in Japan, if I'm thinking right. So like we've actually had pretty cheap prices here for a while. If you even go to like Canada, I think it's like $80.
Oh yeah, dude, Australia is ridiculous. Like for release games.
Yeah. So I just, you know what I do wonder, Nate, what do you think about this? What do you think? Because we've been talking about Switch cartridges, right, being expensive. We think about like that $10 increase would help with some of the Switch cartridge sales, like in terms of going up to that 32 gig maybe more often if needed.
No.
You don't think so?
No, it won't benefit Nintendo in any way.
I mean, like third party devs.
No, they won't go for that. Third party games, like I can look at 2K and they know they're going to sell 7 million copies of NBA on Xbox and PlayStation. If they have to go to a 32 gig on a Switch where they might sell 500,000 copies, the investment is not worth it. The return of investment is too low to justify it.
Maybe we can get CD Projekt Red to finally put The Witcher 3 on a 32 gig cart.
They ended up having a good return on investment there.
Do we ever figure out if Nintendo helped them with that, or if that was literally just CD Projekt Red like, we're just gonna put on the cart?
Nobody has any idea if Nintendo's subsidizing the cost of the game cards, but it worked out in their favor because the game has sold over 1 million copies on the Switch. So their gamble paid off, but not every third party is going to take that chance, nor do they have a game of the caliber of The Witcher 3.
That's true.
So when you have to look at all those factors, if I'm a company like 2K and it comes to a Switch game of NBA, and it's I can release NBA on Switch on a 32 gigabyte game card, it's going to cost me $70. I have to look at that user base and say they're not going to take it.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's even with this.
I'm gonna be honest though. If I gotta download half the game and the thing's still $70,
Yeah, right.
I don't know about that one.
There's going to be all sorts of permutations. I think the only thing that will come out of this that's a good thing is that Game Pass will benefit and because there's going to be a lot more people that will jump on that.
You think that goes up in price then?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm saying that a lot of people will probably start turning towards Game Pass instead of paying $70
that's true.
for game.
It's cheaper, you get access to more games. But even the $10 price increase, it's 2K with this one game, and other publishers are showing interest. If the 2K experiments fails, publishers won't follow suit because $60 is the price point that the market is willing to spend. And that's the price they will stick with. If $70 doesn't resonate with the market, they will not force that.
But 2K is probably going to sell at 70.
They will sell they'll sell these launch games because of the launch hype. And then they'll look at it and say, was this worth it? If it was, they'll try it again. And if they don't see the results that they want, then they'll have to reevaluate the pricing.
Okay, let me ask you this. Metroid Prime 4 is $70. Do you buy it?
No.
Of course.
What? What do you mean?
I'm asking you if an IP is strong enough and it comes out $10 more, do you just go, yeah, I'm buying it? Okay. So would the price Metroid, really not matter?
It's
Metroid, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
Metroid doesn't sell at $60.
Ooh,
Selling to me.
Listen.
I think as a fan of these series, yes. I think if I was a more general consumer,
for me,
absolutely
with
not.
Metroid, if it's a first person, as we all expect, I'd have to look at what it's going to come with for me to want to spend that much. Does it have actually good multiplayer? Am I going to want to play that multiplayer?
I don't know. I think people were freaking out so much that they would be like, "Yeah, of course
I'm buying it, and I'm getting the European Special Edition as well."
Of course you are. Hopefully, there's a system for it. That's the thing. I've already locked into buying a system for it. So yeah, $70. Yeah, of course I'd buy it.
I got the Diablo Switch. That's the only Switch I ever need.
I'm sure there's a lot of examples people can think of that would get people to be like, yeah, of course I'll buy that for $70. But like a sports game, it's like, it'll be half price in like 3 months.
Yeah, it is interesting to see if other companies will follow suit. I suspect they will, but I also wonder, if they'll start going down that road and then maybe just kind of back off. But the other thing is, I mean, most of us have Amazon Prime and things like that. I mean, you're always going to get that discount anyway on when you check out a game to pre-order anyways. So it's not really going to be that big of a deal if the prices do increase to $70 across the board.
Elder Scrolls 6, $70. You buy it?
Yeah.
What's the other one? Starfield?
Really? Oh, I'd buy that.
Yeah,
only if
one.
Bethesda could guarantee that it was bug free.
Oh well, that's not happening.
That's never happening.
I ain't buying
Bug free
it.
Bethesda?
You got to wait at least a year for the community to fix it for them.
Oh man, I'm sure there's a game for everyone out there that'd be like, yeah, I'd pay that money. There's probably a game out there for everyone where they'd pay $100 for it. You just got to figure out which game it is for them.
Chrono Trigger 3.
Yes.
New Chrono Trigger.
I mean, how much is Smash Brothers now if you add up all the fighters passes at this point?
Yeah, it's over $100. It's the first one was 60, 70, 80, 90. Yeah, it's $110 for it because the first one was $20 and the second one was $30. Yeah.
But people see the value in it, so they're like, yeah, that's fine.
Well, consider games that are out that are free to play that have microtransactions like Fortnite, and think about how many people have spent over $100 on that game.
Oh my god, I know someone that's easily put at least 2K into Fortnite. I'm not even kidding you.
People do more than that.
Thing with these sports games.
League, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
People put thousands of dollars into NBA, and we're having a panel right now where people saying, "Well, I'm not going to spend $70 on it," but there's a guy who spent $7,000 on it.
That's why they should work to. That's why they should make the price of entry lower, not higher, because those people exist.
But the problem is that the vast majority of that base does not partake in the microtransactions. So if I only have a 15% engagement who are actually buying microtransactions out of a 10 million base, then I need that initial upfront. I need that money immediately, and then I'm going to milk it from that base who continues to hand over money. So I want a high first entry cost, and then I just want to see what my long-term goals are. And that's where Madden and FIFA and NBA That's where they make the money. That's where Grand Theft Auto 5 is making money, from GTA Online with microtransactions. It's not the initial $60.
That's because they basically give the game away at this point. If you buy enough shark cards, they just give you the game. Like they just give it to you. There's like, here's GTA 5. You bought enough shark cards.
One of the cycles on PC for GTA 5 is that you get it, you put hacks in it so you can have fun with the hacks, and they ban you, and then you just buy a new copy, and you just keep cycling that forward.
My thought about this is, if they had twice the user base, would they make more money if the game was 50 instead of 60?
Feel like twice the user base.
If they had twice the user base overall, and they had ended up selling these things for like $20 a piece, but they had twice the user base, would they take the chance and see if any of them turned into? So they ended up with more whales over time. Would they end up making more money?
2K tried that with what was it? NFL 2K6.
What?
They tried 5.
That was 2K. That was before microtransactions existed for them.
But they want to undercut the Madden by hopefully outselling Madden.
Well, no. Yeah. But then that's when Madden signed the deal, because
wait a minute, they were doing good. They were actually doing good, and then stupid EA got so scared they dropped the price of Madden to $30, and then they signed the exclusive deal right after that. That would have worked if EA weren't punks.
That actually worked. Yeah, actually, Odin's right, Nate. That actually worked to the point where EA got scared and was like, "We got to do something." But I don't. Maybe they had a long plan of like, "Oh well." I mean, they couldn't have by then microtransactions. My thought is, like, if the price got lower because we see these free to play games making more money than these other games that are $60, wouldn't it be better to lower the price of them up front so that more people get in and then spend money over time?
I think that's the problem. But I think that's the secret now. The thing is that I feel like something we've seen a lot of is that games now are dying a lot faster. Like, there's so much great stuff coming out. Mid-range games are just completely flopping. Like, look at Crucible. Like, Crucible isn't a complete freaking wreck, but it wasn't good enough to get attention.
But it was still bottom of the barrel. Like, you got it.
Yeah, but my point is that I think that going low actually seems like the better tactic long run. Like something like Rocket League. Like, Rocket League was so smart because it was a great game and it was free for 1 month, and then it's $20 on every system, and people spend thousands of dollars on skins. I definitely think that, like, I don't know. I definitely think that cheaper is the way to go, not more expensive.
I think we will see how the market responds. So go ahead, Nate.
But even if we look at Rocket League, we can't ignore the fact that it was on PlayStation Plus. That was a huge role in finding success.
They should put NBA on. They should put NBA on PlayStation Plus immediately.
But then Sony has to give them a substantial sum of money to get it. Or even
I wouldn't do that.
Has to give them, saying, we're going to give you $50 million to have NBA on Game Pass. It's not just here's $1 million, throw it on our service. It's we're paying you to have this here. And they're going to look at it and say, well, we need to make up a quarter of our overall budget on this game from putting it on your service, or you have to pay for it entirely. That's a lot of money if a game is costing $200 million.
I think eventually a lot of these sports games will go to either low price or free to play in the distant future. I think you'll see that eventually.
Yeah, people really love NBA 2K though. Like, people really like NBA 2K. It's one of the best selling games in the world. Like, so like I understand, from their standpoint, I see what they're talking about. And I get it. It's a capitalistic business, but I mean, my problem is just like, there's just not enough. I don't see enough from them. As somebody who used to play NBA 2K, I don't find it worth $70. That game in particular, especially when the price is going to drop. I mean, what's going to drop soon, because they do this every year. It just drops pretty quickly. By Black Friday, you can get the game or around cheaper usually.
It does drop pretty substantially though.
It drops quick for these sports games, man. I mean, there's no resale value on them, so I mean, it's just I don't know. I'm not paying $74.
I'm good. Like, if a game comes out and it looks like the value's there and the reviews are good and everything, I'll spend $70 if it is a good game, right? So it was just funny that 2K was the one who was like, it's 70 for 2K21. I'm like, all right.